Like many locations in Elden Ring, there are some secrets hidden in plain sight, and others you'll have to uncover by obsessively searching every corner of the lands between. Stormveil Castle is no exception, since this large legacy dungeon has quite a few hidden areas that not only provide you with some necessary loot, but they also paint a complete picture in terms of the castle's lore through visual references and additional side quest dialogues. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to uncover some of the things that you likely missed in your first playthrough so you don't feel so maidenless your second time around. If you enjoy the content, dropping a like really helps out the channel, and for more videos like this one, you can hit the subscribe button as well. So let's get ready to pull this castle apart brick by brick. Tell Melina, if you want to be a good archaeologist, you gotta get out of the library and get after it. Our story begins with a puzzle that's likely left a lot of players asking the question, how the hell do I get up there? And the short answer is, not from the dining room. The entrance to the mystery scaffolding actually lies a bit higher up than you might imagine. The starting point for this incursion begins at the Rampart Tower side of Grace, and as you can see from the map footage, you'll encounter it about halfway through the castle within a small room with a cozy fireplace high up in the ramparts. From the side of Grace, you'll exit the door to the south and head up the staircase on the right, where you'll encounter a lone guard standing in your way armed with a spear and a shield. And it's also important to note there's also another one behind you at a distance trying to land some cheap shots with a crossbow. After following the hallway for a bit, you'll come across an archway on your left where you can head out into a small encampment of guards taking a nap. If you just make your way immediately around to the left and take care of the sentry with the torch, you shouldn't wake any of the snoozing guards. Once the sentry's dealt with, you can hop from the wooden platform onto the rampart ledge and gingerly make your way along it. After following the ledge around the tower, you'll come across an area just below you that you can safely drop down to. And then you'll need to drop down once more and run along the battlements for about 50 meters until you can safely drop down again into a small alcove. While utilizing this path, you'll draw the attention of a warhawk who's perched nearby, which isn't a fun fight while balancing on a ledge, so speed is of the utmost importance. Once your superhero landing is completed in style, you'll have to carefully drop down once more and deal with a guard armed with a crossbow who's sitting nearby. After dealing with the guard, you can walk through the nearby archway into a small room, and then after passing through another archway on your left, you'll end up on the mystery scaffolding. The ledge doesn't contain anything of real importance, but the satisfaction isn't in the loot, it's finally getting up there. After dealing with the guard and grabbing all the not-so-special loot, you can continue on your magical mystery tour. The next secret location starts back at the Rampart Tower side of Grace, but this time you'll be exiting to the north where you'll come across some warhawks, and once you clear out all the birds, you can head to the wall's ledge on the small observation deck and take a leap of faith onto another small ledge below. After gaining a foothold on the ledge, your path is pretty much one way from here, and after making your way down to a small broken tower, you'll discover an interesting shield that you likely won't use to defend yourself with, but within the description, you'll pick up some lore that'll start you on a journey to dig a bit deeper into the castle. This wooden shield is mottled and covered in thorns, similar to the castle walls, and some would say that it's the curse of grafting, but others believe there are far more sinister things beneath the castle. After scooping up the shield, you can continue downward until you hit a rocky outcropping that crumbles underneath you, sending you plummeting into some soft vegetation below. Once you crash into the ground floor, you'll need to hit the ground running to chase down a scarab that once defeated will drop the Ash of War Storm Assault. The Ash of War will grant you the quality affinity when paired with a suitable weapon, as well as the skill Storm Assault, which you've likely witnessed some of the more heavily armored knights in the castle use. Utilizing the skill will make you leap forward through swirling storm winds and deliver a downward thrust that produces more wind on impact. Within the clearing ahead is a Crucible Knight that you don't necessarily need to fight, but if you're a completionist and want all the miracles in the game, you'll have to bring this heavily armored enemy down. Crucible Knights can dish out some heavy physical damage and utilize miracles when below 50% health, but if you're patient and you pick your shots wisely, you can bring down the knight and grab the miracle aspects of the Crucible Horn. As miracles go, this one's pretty decent for close range faith builds, since charging it'll increase the stance damage on larger targets while it just sends smaller targets flying. It can also be used to quickly close distance to knock targets down for a follow-up attack. After shoving the miracle in your pocket, it's pretty much smooth sailing from here as far as this area goes, since the only remaining thing you'll need to do is activate the lift and head back to the Rampart Tower side of Grace for some well-deserved rest and a little preparation for the next hidden area. The next hidden area houses one of the more important treasures in the castle, especially if you're gunning for one of the more popular bleed builds. From the side of Grace, you'll need to exit to the north again, but instead of messing with the birds, you'll need to free your mind and prepare to jump across the way to a neighboring rooftop. After completing the jump, you'll head straight over to a broken column and use it to jump up to the adjoining ledge. Once up on the ledge, you'll follow it around the corner to a medium-sized alcove with a tower situated towards the back wall. There are a few sleeping enemies in the area that you'll need to contend with, and once the area is clear, you can move to the ladder and start your climb to the top. Once at the top of the tower, you'll be able to pick up the Claw Talisman, which is resting on a slumped-over body in the far corner. This talisman increases jumping attacks by 15%, although the effect is reduced to 7.5% in PvP. As you can see from the map footage, our next location will be the Lift Chamber Site of Grace, which is located about 3/4 of the way through the castle, and it houses yet another frustrating mystery. If you've made it to this location, you've likely wondered how to get on the other side of this nearby door. Well, the answer isn't overly complicated, but the path is pretty well hidden. From the Site of Grace, you'll need to hop onto the lift and take it up to the floor above, which just so happens to be a shortcut to the Godric boss fight area, if you didn't plan on forcing your way through some Warhawks and undertaking Nefelilu's side quest. After hopping off the lift, you'll run through an archway to the left and head over to the walkway that runs along the far wall. After taking the walkway to its end, you'll need to hop onto the ledge and follow it around to the other side where you can jump over to a landing of archways. After passing through the archway, you'll need to take a sharp right and follow it to a one-way path through the castle. And once on the other side, you'll take a sharp left and jump your way up a collapsed section to the next area. As you can see from the game footage, after moving straight ahead back into the castle, you'll come across a large room with a fair amount of enemies in it. However, they are extremely weak and you should mow through them pretty quickly. Once the room's been terminated, you can head out onto the ledge where there's a message from Rajier telling you that what you seek is close by, alluding to yet another secret beneath the castle. From here, turn left and you'll be faced with yet another descent along the castle wall, which involves jumping a few ledges until you reach the bottom where you'll find a doorway to your left. Now it's just a straight shot up the staircase that runs along the wall to the door that's located by the lift side chamber. After unlocking the door, you can turn back around and clear the area of bats and pick up a few pieces of ground loot, as well as make your descent down into the Stormveil lower levels. However, there is a shortcut you can take if you don't want to fight through a bunch of bats. If you exit the chamber towards the courtyard and make a right towards what seems like a dead end, you can actually just drop down to a rather easy path that leads to the final secret area in the castle. You'll have to carefully make your way down to the ground floor, executing a series of jumps to ledges, landings, and platforms, but it isn't overly difficult. This dank area is covered in rubble and long-forgotten broken statues, as well as quite a few rats that are lurking in the shadows. The last field enemy you'll need to contend with is a large rat that'll charge out at you from a covered and concealed position once you get close enough. After face-tanking the rat, you'll hear the familiar chime of a scarab, and once defeated, it'll drop the Death Sorcery Rancor Call, which sends out multiple magic projectiles that track down your enemies. It doesn't really do a whole heap of damage out of the gate, however it can be boosted by 100% while using the Prince of Death's staff that you won't come across until you uncover the Deeproot Depths. After scooping up the spell, you'll reach a ledge where you'll need to buff up for a rather tough fight with an ulcerated tree spirit. Once you drop off the ledge, you'll have to contend with this giant enemy in close quarters, and while it may seem difficult since it's fairly quick and has erratic movement patterns, its flopping around doesn't actually do any damage to you unless it's directly attacking. Once defeated, it'll drop a golden seed, but more importantly, it'll give you the ability to take in the sights at the back of the cavern, which are deeply tied to the lore of the castle. Your last prize is the Prince of Pustule Charm, which raises your vitality by 90 and improves resistance to Deathblight. It also holds another clue to the land's lore in its description. Even with all the clues attached to items in the area, there's still tons of speculation as to what the giant squid face in this cavern actually is. It would seem while most believe it to be the death visage of Godwyn the Golden, others believe it to be the result of Godwyn's burial at the foot of the Erd tree that spread disease into the roots, which has sprung forth from the infected wounds caused by the black knives imbued by the Rune of Death. If you've been following Rajier's quest, there's also a bloodstain you can interact with, opening up some additional dialogue with him in the Round Table Hold about the Knight of the Black Knives. Well folks, it looks like we're coming to the end of another Elden Ring video as we continue to track down choice weapons and secret locations. We would like to take this time to personally thank you for watching, and if you're new to the channel and haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any new mid-40s gamer content. And if you aren't too busy wondering why sunsets on Mars are blue, leave us a comment in the comment section and let us know how we're doing. So until next time, just remember, 1 teaspoon of a neutron star is equal to the weight of about 900 pyramids of Giza. Nintendo was actually founded in 1889, and as always, good hunting.